Yeah, welcome in. Welcome back to another episode of the Format Podcast. Got a pretty interesting show for you here today because in light of the Lakers going down 0-3 in their series against the Denver Nuggets in the Western Conference Finals, that most likely is over. Maybe they'll get a game out of it, but most likely this series is over. It made me do some more thinking about LeBron James. Why am I thinking about LeBron James? Because he is the biggest name and has been the biggest name in the NBA for at least the past 10 years. He's the all-time leading scorer. We know he achieved that this year and did a lot of other great things. But before we get to all that, you know what it is. If you're here on YouTube and you haven't already, please go ahead, click that like, that subscribe, and that notification bell. Make sure you stay up to date whenever new content drops. If you want the audio only version of the podcast, go to the audio podcast platform, hit the search bar, type in the Format Podcast, give us a little search. We should come up. Please give us that like or that 5-star review. Definitely would appreciate it. All that stuff helps us find more sports fans, helps more sports fans find us. Let's get right to it. Okay. So as I was saying a little bit in the intro, we know LeBron James is the biggest name and the biggest brand, the biggest individual brand in the NBA. And realistically, his individual brand may be bigger than some team brands in the NBA, right? Over the last 10 years, over the last 15 years, maybe. Probably before Kobe passed away, God bless the dead, he was probably the only guy in the league who, as an individual brand, could rival LeBron in terms of size and worth to the NBA. But anyway, LeBron James. So the Lakers are down 0-3 in the series Western Conference Finals against the Denver Nuggets, and rightfully so. Mike Malone is pretty upset that his team is not getting the attention or respect they deserve. Now, when they go ahead and if they should finish the job and go ahead and send the Lakers home officially, then they will get the respect they deserve because there will be no more room to talk about the Lakers because the Lakers just won't be there. Mike Malone is not a dumb guy. He's an NBA head coach. He understands the power of branding. He understands the Lakers, along with maybe the Knicks and the Celtics, are arguably the biggest, but probably the biggest brand in the NBA as a franchise. LeBron James, their star, as I mentioned, he's the biggest individual brand. So, yeah, he's going to play the, our team gets no respect card, and I totally get it. He wants to motivate his team, and so far, it looks as if he's done just that. But realistically, he's got to know that, Denver, it's not the biggest media market. They're not the sexiest team. They're not the biggest brand. They're not a brand that has, a high level of continual playoff and championship level success. So they have to know that the way the media is going to cover this thing is not what did the Nuggets do, for the most part anyway, but what did the Lakers not do? What did LeBron James not do? What's the future of LeBron James? So for Mike Malone, easiest way to shut all this down is go on, continue to do what you're doing, send the Lakers home, get them out of the playoffs completely, out of sight, out of mind, at least to some level, and win an NBA championship. That will stop all the talk. So he's got 5 more games. He needs 5 more wins, he and his team, to be able to do that. But so I was thinking about LeBron James, and I was thinking, a while back I did a show, I think it was called like Who's Got It Better Than Bron. You can check back through the shows on the channel and see that episode. But it kind of brings me back to that perspective of, you can't have it both ways. You always hear that growing up, and sometimes you hear it as an adult as well. But have we ever seen anyone who gets it both ways more than LeBron James does? Now, let me make this clear. LeBron James is one of the greatest basketball players of all time. He's had one of the greatest careers of all time. Just, you can't deny that. Now, where you place him, that's a totally different matter. He's not number 2 to me. He's not the GOAT to me. He's not top 5 to me. Whole different story. But the fact is, he has had one of the greatest careers of all time. He's one of the greatest players of all time. He's one of the greatest playoff performers of all time. He's arguably the greatest Game 7 performer of all time. He has scored the most points in the history of the National Basketball Association. So all of those things lend to the praise that is heaped upon LeBron James. And a lot of it he's earned. Some of it I don't necessarily agree with because of the way he's gone about having a lot of the successes in his career. That's a whole different story. But the fact is this, he has done a tremendous amount in the positive on and off the court in his career. We always talk about, the whole thing of he wasn't supposed to be here. Obviously, we know he never went to college. He's played his entire career in the social media era. So he's had more pressure. Theoretically, he's had more pressure heaped on him than any player ever. Don't know if that's necessarily true, but whatever. If it is, he's lived up to it, right? Now, the other side. He's also, if you ask him, or if you ask a lot of other people, been the most villainized player in the history of the game. Now, if he has been villainized on some fronts, a lot of that is, that's his own fault. His look at me attitude, his greasing the skids every way possible to try and facilitate more championships, right? And when I say greasing the skids, I mean manipulating rosters and taking away from competition on the NBA level, but somehow managing to avoid the main criticism when his teams lose. Somehow being the guy, the guy who gets away with failure more than anyone else in the history of the league, and somehow it's always someone else's fault, right? It's so amazing when you look at it. We always find a way to excuse away LeBron James's failures on the big stage. Now, as we know, only Elgin Baylor and Jerry West have more failures on the big stage than LeBron James does. When I say the big stage, I'm in the NBA Finals, right? And so Jerry West is one of the best players we've ever seen. He's one of the greatest shooting guards we've ever seen. They call him Mr. Clutch. Again, that's a different story. How you can call a guy Mr. Clutch when he's 1-8 all time in the NBA Finals is beyond me. But, that was his nickname. Clearly, he made a lot of big shots in tough moments. But the fact of the matter is, in the biggest moments, obviously, he wasn't getting it done. Now, all that aside, the reason I bring up Jerry West is because he is the NBA logo. He's literally the NBA logo. He's one of the greatest players of all time, but no one even would consider him in the GOAT debate. Why? Because of all that big stage failure. And that's kind of what I point to when I look at a guy like LeBron. For all the things he's done, somehow he manages to avoid getting victimized and villainized for all that big stage failure. Now, if you talk about the 2011 finals against the Dallas Mavericks, he's never going to live that down, nor should he, because that was just so egregious for a player of his ability and his accomplishment, right? But other than that, we find a way to excuse away all his failures, whether it was the failure in 2007 against the Spurs. Oh, well, he was young. He had no business being there. Well, if he was so great and you want to give him credit for dragging the supposedly worst finals roster of all time to the finals, I don't know if it is or it isn't. I would have to go back and do a lot of research. But anyway, you want to give him credit for that, but then you want to excuse away his failure when he gets to the finals against Tim Duncan and Greg Popovich in the San Antonio Spurs. Nah, that's not how it goes. But again, he gets it both ways, right? Nobody gets it both ways like LeBron James does. Then we talk about the blowout against the Spurs in 2014, right? First of all, everyone likes to completely gloss over the fact that Ray Allen saved him in 2013 with arguably the biggest shot in finals history. Much like Kyrie Irving saved him in 2016 with arguably the greatest shot in finals history. Now, let me be clear. In both of those series, LeBron had tremendous overall performances, but if not for those guys, those championships aren't there, and that's 2 more losses on the finals record, right? And talking about 2016, we don't even get to Kyrie Irving saving him on the big stage if the league itself and Adam Silver doesn't save him, right? By suspending Draymond Green on a BS call. I'm not even going to get to that. You can actually check my YouTube shorts and you will see where I demonstrate exactly how LeBron was terrible and dirty on that, and Draymond got made out to be the bad guy. But anyway, the point I'm trying to make is we've never seen a player ever in history who gets to have it both ways like LeBron James does. One from people, a lot of people will say they tell the truth about LeBron James and they give facts, especially a guy like Nick Wright in terms of Michael Jordan versus LeBron James, right? And Nick Wright doesn't lie. He doesn't. But what he does is he's very incomplete. He doesn't give you the whole story, right? He manipulates it so that it looks like, he's making a lot of sense. But what he's doing is leaving out a lot of key context. But, I'm sure there's tons of videos on YouTube that will show you how Nick Wright just, is full of it when it comes to the LeBron James, Michael Jordan argument. Here's another one that we hear all the time, right? And this is a little less LeBron James getting it from getting to have it both ways, but just touching on the Michael Jordan, LeBron James debate, we hear constantly about how one of the things that makes LeBron better is that he shoots the 3 better than Michael Jordan, right? For his career, Michael Jordan shoots about 32% from 3, LeBron James about 34%. Funny, Michael Jordan was an average three-point shooter for his era. LeBron James is below average for his. Okay, whatever. So I think we would all agree that the playoffs are where it counts most. That's where you make your legend, correct? I think we would all agree on that. I don't think that that's a stretch. So I'll tell you what's funny about that. For his playoff career, LeBron James shoots .330, right? That's 33% from three-point range, okay? Which is a little less than his regular season average. Okay. Now, Michael Jordan, keep in mind, LeBron James shoots .330 from three for his career in the playoffs. Funny, Michael Jordan shoots .332 for his career in the playoffs from three-point range. So what that is, now me, ordinarily, I wouldn't even bring that up because what is that, that's 0.02 of a percentage point, right? Separating the two. But the LeBron James fans would bring that up to show you that LeBron, if it was flipped, that LeBron is a better three-point shooter in the playoffs than Michael Jordan. So one of the things that they love to throw in your face is that LeBron shoots the three better, but oddly enough, in the playoffs, where it counts most, Michael Jordan shoots the three at a higher percentage. Isn't that funny how that works? You see what I'm talking about when I talk about the incompleteness of the stuff that they're telling you. But anyway, we always manage to overlook where LeBron comes up short, and it is phenomenal. And kudos to LeBron, kudos to his team. He has done a fantastic job in marketing himself. He and they have they've done a fantastic job in controlling the narrative, controlling who he talks to, when he talks to them, how the message is, how the message gets received, etc., so on and so forth, right? If you listen to I think it's on the Ball podcast with Rick Bucher, he said a while back on an episode that some years ago he was trying to get an interview with LeBron, and LeBron's guys flat out told him, we're not going to give you the interview because you're a Kobe guy, right? So this is the thing that I always talk about. If you don't worship LeBron, you're a hater. And even in terms of the media, they completely control who he's going to be able to talk to because he wants to be able to control the narrative, right? And again, that is brilliant marketing. But the fact is, it's disingenuous. And this is what I talk about when I say having it both ways. You control everything so that when something happens that isn't beneficial to you, it's not your fault. You didn't do it. But when something happens on the flip side that is, well, it's all you and it's all because of Bron. And so, I just wanted to come on here and point those things out today and just talk a little bit about how LeBron has it both ways and finish up by saying, I guarantee you that when this Nuggets series is over, right? What we're going to point to, one, is whose fault it is on the Lakers roster, which of course will be not LeBron, right? It'll be someone else, right? Because they're going to tell you LeBron is not 100%, he's injured. And they're going to tell you LeBron is in year 20, and he's 38 years old. But the funny thing is, on the other side of it, when LeBron does something great, have you ever seen a player in year 20 who's 38 years old do the things LeBron is doing, right? We're going to see that. We're going to talk about how tired he is and how he doesn't have it in his legs. But then when he was chasing the scoring championship, we saw that he was looking like superhuman for age 38 and year 20. You see what I'm talking about? Having it both ways. He gets that. No one else gets that, but he does. And so this is what I'm talking about. So we're going to see, I'm definitely waiting to see who it is that's going to get the blame for failing LeBron and failing to help him get to the 5th championship and get out of the West against the Nuggets. And quick note, that's yet another year he didn't make it out of the Western Conference. We all talked about how dominant he was when he was running the East, when the East was a lot weaker, but comes over to the West, and now all of a sudden we get a totally different story. But anyway, that is what it is. But yeah, so just what I want to know from you, give me your thoughts on this. Do you think LeBron gets it both ways? Do you think he manipulates the media? Do you think his whole career is contrived? Do you think his whole career, is contrived and manipulated? And is he as great as so many people say? I want your thoughts in the comments section. Can't wait to read them. Can't wait to respond to them. And I'll be back with you on the next episode. And I'm out. Peace.